Ladies and gentlemen, this is a story that came out November 28th, 2018 in Dallas. Why a Dallas grand jury won't decide whether to indict Amber Guyger until at least Friday. I'm not real big on grand juries, especially after we saw what happened with Mike Brown. Remember, they brought in all these people that didn't even live in the damn county and put them on the grand jury and rigged it all up so that Darren Wilson could get off for the whole thing. So, it's easy for them to hand select people and put them on there with the intent of letting somebody like Amber Guyger off. You know, we have seen how easy it is for grand juries to be rigged up from just past cases. A Dallas County grand jury went home Wednesday without deciding whether to indict a former Dallas police officer in the shooting death of an unarmed 26-year-old in his apartment. Grand jurors heard testimony all day about whether Amber Guyger should be charged with murder, manslaughter, or nothing for killing Botham Jean in his Dallas apartment. They won't return until Friday to either hear additional testimony or vote on an indictment. Jean was watching a football game when Amber Guyger fatally shot him September 6th. He told authorities she mistook his apartment for hers and thought Jean was a burglar. Guyger, 30, wasn't off duty but still in uniform when she entered Jean's apartment at the Southside Flats complex in the Cedars, a few blocks from the police headquarters. She told authorities that the door was ajar and unlocked, which Jean's family disputes, saying he was a meticulous person who wouldn't have left his door open, which I don't believe any part of her story. Plus, we see those doors are weighted. So when you let them go, they automatically slam. You can't prop those doors open. Guyger was arrested and charged with manslaughter 3 days after the shooting. She was booked into the Kaufman County Jail and released on bond within an hour. Dallas defense attorneys have said murder is the more appropriate charge for Guyger because in Texas, manslaughter charges are reserved for reckless acts. If Guyger intended to shoot John, even if she wrongly assumed he was a burglar, murder would be the charge that fits best, they said. Guyger's attorney, Robert Rogers, has not returned calls seeking comment. John's family's attorney said they were hopeful that a murder indictment would be handed up. Anything less, we feel, would be a miscarriage of justice, attorney Lee Merritt said. Merritt said Allison John, Botham's mother, took the stand before the grand jury Monday. Botham's sister, Elisa Charles Findley, was on the stand Wednesday afternoon, Merritt said. If Guyger is indicted on more severe charge, she will be rearrested. If that happens, it is possible she could turn herself into a jail outside Dallas, as she did previously. It is also possible the grand jury could decide not to charge Guyger. Well, it seems like everything is up in the air, isn't it? A charge of murder is punishable by up to life in prison. And you know what? What's the purpose in rearresting her if she can get out? I mean, if they're going to rearrest her, I'm sorry, there should be no bail. A charge of manslaughter could come in a penalty of up to 20 years. Jurors will return Friday because no decision was reached Wednesday. This grand jury meets Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Another Dallas County grand jury meets Tuesdays and Thursdays. The same grand jury must hear all the evidence before voting whether to indict. The attorneys were unsure why the grand jury proceedings had stretched over multiple days, but they took it as a sign that the district attorney's office was handling the case with professionalism and seriousness, Merritt said. This has taken much longer than even the Jordan Edwards case, where there were more live witnesses, said Darrell Washington, another attorney for the family. We don't know why it's taken this long, but the one thing that we hope that happens is the right decision comes out of this grand jury room. Jordan, 15, was shot and killed by a police officer as he left a house party in Belch Springs. Roy Oliver was convicted of murder and sentenced to 15 years in prison. For weeks after John's death, protesters rallied in Dallas calling for Guyger to be charged with murder. Guyger was fired from the Dallas Police Department September 24th. The same day, John was buried in a cemetery by the sea in St. Lucia, the Caribbean's nation where he grew up. John had come to the United States to attend Harding University in Arkansas and later moved to Dallas for a job as an accountant at Price Waterhouse Coopers. He had hoped one day to return to St. Lucia to run for prime minister. Grand jurors began hearing evidence in the case against Guyger on Monday. Washington said Monday that the world had its eyes and ears on Dallas as the grand jury proceedings were underway. The fact that there is even a possibility that this officer may not be charged with murder is something that the whole world is looking at, he said. Washington and Merritt are representing the family in the federal lawsuit they filed against Guyger in the city of Dallas. The lawsuit, they argued that Guyger used excessive force and violated John's civil rights and said the city could have prevented John's death by providing better training to its police officers. It's not a training issue, ladies and gentlemen. These folks are trained to kill us on sight. It is not a training issue. It's not a training issue, and we got to get that training issue stuff out of our heads. That's not what this is. The Johns met with Dallas County District Attorney Faith Johnson in October, and the staff filled the family in on how the investigation had been going. At that point, Johnson said the DA's office had brought in more than 200 witnesses and planned to interview more. During the meeting, Johnson said that she asked Allison John, Bothan's mother, whether she wanted the DA office to stop and go to the grand jury. But John said to keep going, Johnson said. DA-elect John Cruzat has said he believes Guyger should be charged with murder. He will take office in January after defeating Johnson in his month's elections. So that's where it stands, ladies and gentlemen. You know, it is too much in doubt when it comes down to this case. And we know how shifty these folks are. Again, this is a criminal system they run. There's no justice in it, and that's why I'm never gonna say criminal justice again. And if I do say it, it is definitely by accident. So in this criminal system, they are going to see whether Amber Guyger should be charged with anything. And that's where it stands right now, ladies and gentlemen. But please tell me what you think. I have no confidence at all in this rigged up criminal system, but please tell me what you think. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.